The West Genesee Wildcats have an opportunity to do something special against a Class AA powerhouse in Utica Proctor. She is born to run, or born to ride horses, rather. But for Sergeant Caruso and the rest of the Utica Police Department, they want these kids on the field to know that they can come to them not only as officers, but as people, too. The Major League Baseball season has officially kicked off today, which means for hardcore baseball fans, doctor's notes and sick emails were sent to professors and bosses all across the country. One of the key contributors to this win was standing right here at second base. And again, this is the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League. But Michael Dallas has never opened a college textbook before. Never a dull moment when Syracuse and Utica square off in a bitter AHL rivalry. The Crunch getting the better of the Comets on Monday at the Aud. Now they play at the War Memorial tonight with a unique pregame twist. They pulled up a table and sat down youngster Mason Campbell, part of Project Impact. All the players gathered around as Campbell signed a letter of intent and donned the orange colors. He looked pretty good, if I do say so myself. A very wholesome way to end today's media day. From the Mello Center, I'm James Kattato.
Finding your flow is very important in life, and I found it in soccer.
It's been a long road for Lemoyne soccer star Salar Faryar, a road that started in Germany and was surrounded with high expectations since he was 4 years old.
Salar, چند گل زدی تو؟ دو تا. Huh? Very good.
Back home, it's either soccer or work. It's hard to combine both of them. It's the #1 sport back home in Germany, so you're automatically exposed to it, and it's everyone's dream.
Faryar was a standout from a young age. Playing for the Eintracht Frankfurt Academy team, he made a name for himself. But when top-flight German clubs started calling him, his behavior off the field forced his coach to turn the scouts away.
He told the clubs he's not interested. He's not interested in transferring, and he's not behaving off the field. That was my big opportunity, and it's gone.
So he altered his course and moved to the United States. But learning a new culture was an entirely new task he had to face.
It came with a lot of challenges, especially in terms of language, in terms of it's a new culture. You can't express yourself the way you really want to because the words are there, but it's just in a different language.
After overcoming the language barrier and transitioning to American culture, Faryar went back to what he does best. Playing what he calls the beautiful game. Everything seemed to fall into place once he became a student and player at Lemoyne, and he was receiving national recognition. A Division II All-American, multiple All-Conference first teams, and looks from Division I schools. Faryar was on top of the world, but an off-season tournament in South Carolina changed everything.
I looked up and I was like, there's no way this just happened.
Faryar suffered a torn ACL, MCL, PCL, and meniscus that caused him to miss his entire senior season and save his final year of eligibility for graduate school. He was heartbroken, but never deterred.
When I got the results, I told myself, today you're gonna cry, but tomorrow you're gonna get after it again. There's no point in self-victimization. This happened to me, whatever. It's just part of my story now. I gotta embrace it.
Missing some time not only allowed him to heal from his injuries, but also let him find his passions off the field.
Coming here made me aware of my potential beyond soccer. I grew as a person a lot, and I don't know, it made me a more well-rounded person for sure.
Overall, Faryar has been pushed to an emotional limit, but now as a Division I commit to Georgia State, he knows his story is far from over. James Kattato, WTOP 10. After a hot start to the 2019 season, the Oswego State volleyball team is now 4-3 on the year after dropping 3 of 4 matches in the Pizza Hut Invitational. Despite the struggles, head coach J.J. O'Connell says that they were only getting better the more they played the stiff competition.
And I think if we had played like best of 7, we would have won those because we were getting better with every set. It took us a minute to adjust to their speeds in both of those sets.
With the Oswego Invitational coming up this weekend, O'Connell says that playing with the same energy from their last Invitational will give them success this time around.
Play with the energy we played when we played the last match of the weekend. We had great energy. Our bench was huge. They were bringing great energy. That was how we wanted to play. We just needed to start earlier. So quicker start should do it for us.
A great energy that comes from great team chemistry. Melissa Lucier, Oswego's leader in points and kills, says the time the team spends together off the court impacts their play on it.
I think we spend a lot of time together. We're all really close. I think that helps us build the chemistry on the court. And I think that we're all really passionate about the sport, so that helps us come together and build the chemistry as well.
Oswego's chemistry is going to come into play when they hit their home hardwood for the first time of the season, but O'Connell isn't as concerned with the Invitational as he is with the game following this weekend, the team's first SUNYAC game against Cortland.
Really, our main focus for this weekend is how we're going to play against Cortland. I mean, honestly, getting 4 wins in the next week would be great, but I would sacrifice 4 wins for 1 win against Cortland. So we have to think about all the things we have to do to beat Cortland. So once we fix those, I think we're good.
NBC3 Sports is brought to you by your local Nissan dealer.
A unique and special matchup at the Carrier Dome tonight. Good evening, I'm James Kattato. Cornell and Syracuse have played each other 125 times, so you could say that is a long-standing rivalry. But the game between the Orange and the Big Red feels a little different nowadays. That's because Jim and Buddy Boeheim of Syracuse are taking on their son and brother, Jimmy and Cornell. So heading out to the Dome, Syracuse players showing their support for student protests with Not Again SU warm-up shirts. One player not taking part in those warm-ups, Jalen Carey. SU Athletics announcing the former starting point guard will have surgery for a hand injury on Friday. Joe Girard took his place in the starting 5, and Girard making his presence felt early. He hits Buddy Boeheim, who makes it look easy for 3. Now Girard scoring 9 tonight on a couple 3-pointers. He also grabbed 6 rebounds. He has his hands all over the ball tonight. Syracuse leads early. But remember, this is the battle of the Boeheims. Jim and Buddy with the Orange against Jimmy and Cornell. And Jimmy has himself a night, unstoppable at times, keeping Cornell alive the whole way through. A nice drive down the lane here, another one later in the first half. Remember, Jimmy's first college basket was a 3-pointer in front of his dad 2 years ago. He collects the ball and gives Cornell the lead late in the first. The Orange takes it back though. Who else hits the shot? Little bro, Buddy. Mid-range jumper is good. Syracuse up by 1 at the break. Big brother says, anything you can do, I can do better. Jimmy with his best game of the season, 25 points. This one from deep has Cornell down just a couple midway through the second half. A memory he will not forget. Syracuse from there, though, they pull away in this one. Elijah Hughes with the dagger, and he scores 22. Syracuse wins by 19. Final score, 72-53. But this is the scene we'll all remember. Jimmy and Jim embrace post-game. The brothers do so as well. Julie Boeheim saying tonight she doesn't want this to end. Next year is Jimmy's senior season at Cornell.
Jimmy played really well tonight. He's gotten better every year that he's been there, and I thought he really had really good control of the game tonight on the offensive end. He did a great job.
Perfect scenario for you. You get the win in both your sons.
Well, I don't really like coaching against my son, but we got to do it once a year. We got to get through it. But he played really well, and so I'm sure his mother's happy.
Now, there was some real fun for both Boeheims in action tonight. Jimmy scoring a season-high 25 points. Remember, the first points of his career came on a 3-pointer in front of the SU bench. Buddy with a really nice day, too, 16 points, and you can't forget about the win. Next year, Jimmy will be a senior and Buddy will be a junior. But this moment, once again, something Central New York and the Boeheim family will never forget. Now, if we're talking about unforgettable moments, then you got to talk about high school football in Central New York this year. There have been so many feel-good moments during the 2019 season, but which team takes the cake? Well, it has to be the Cicero North Syracuse North Stars. CNS, unexpectedly, after some early season stumbles, finding themselves in the New York State semifinal 4 in a game that will be played at CNS tomorrow. But that may not be the key. Chances are it comes down to our Toyota High School Athlete of the Week. Mike Washington is a flat-out star. He can turn any play into a touchdown, as Utica Proctor found out the hard way in the Section 3 title game. Washington has over 1,300 yards so far this season, including 200-plus in each of the last 2 games, which were the Section 3 title game and a New York State playoff game, so we know he's definitely no stranger to the bright lights or the big moments. The North Stars play Rochester McQuaid tomorrow in Cicero. The winner gets a spot in the Dome for a state championship, something made possible by perseverance, put on display by Washington and the North Stars week in and week out.
I think I just changed my mindset starting to go into the different games. I haven't been nervous with these past few games, and I don't know, it was just a mindset thing. I'm gonna have him do his best with the team for the team to win. Yeah, and I say that only because we've been through like a lot of adversity. Like we started off the season 1-2, and then we end up playing the teams that we lost to again in the playoff game. So yeah, we went through just a lot of adversity. So I think we're just a different team from past few years.
Without a doubt. I mean, in this one we look at it as we're blessed. I mean, last couple of years, everybody expected us to be there. This year, you look back, no one expected us to beat Liverpool in the semifinals, let alone Utica in the finals. Then come down in the corner and go down there and beat them down there. No one gave us a shot, but the kids believed. The kids worked hard every day.
That's all for sports. We will have more news and weather after the break. Stay tuned.